Welcome to old Buddhist philosophy. Have you ever stood beneath the endless sky, long after the world had fallen quiet, and felt somewhere deeper than thought that the universe was whispering, not in words, not in logic, but in pulses, in patterns, in the language that lives between the seconds? You glance at the clock, 11. You notice your birth date on a stranger's license plate. A bill totals 30 and 13. Dream repeats, and something ancient stirs in your chest, a subtle warmth, a knowing, a whisper that says, note. These are not coincidences, these are cosmic cues, quiet symphonies of alignment, playing just for those awake enough to hear them. The universe does not always announce itself. It speaks like a monk in morning meditation, gently, simply, and with profound clarity. Its messages are encoded not in noise, but in numbers, the original language of creation. And in the stillness of the Buddhist path, the ancients knew this well. Numbers were more than symbols, they were energy gates, markers of karmic memory, and signposts on the journey of soul awakening. Now, as the golden light of August 2025 rises, a deeper calling arrives. This is not just another month, it is a turning point in the unseen currents of destiny. Saturn, the wise guardian of cause and consequence, grounds us. Mercury sharpens the air with messages from the spirit world. The new moon empties our cup, so it may be filled again. And from this rare cosmic convergence emerges something sacred, 6 vibrational codes, spiritual coordinates, drawn from the heart of Buddhist numerology, planetary alignments, and the soft hum of your soul's deeper memory. These numbers are not superstitions, they are not trends meant to impress, they are reminders, keys, mirrors. They carry the rhythm of ancient temples, the breath of timeless wisdom, and the grace of truths long buried beneath modern noise. And yet, there is more. There is always one more. A hidden number, veiled in light, waiting in silence. It is the number that reveals itself, not to those who rush, but to those who remain, who have chosen stillness over speed, presence over pressure, alignment over ambition. That number does not appear until your soul quietly whispers, "Now, I am ready." But before the numbers reveal their sacred wisdom, before this cosmic journey begins, pause. Place your hands gently on your heart. Inhale with reverence, exhale with surrender. Let the mind loosen, let the breath deepen. Let your inner world become still, like a temple untouched by time. You are not here by chance. This is not a video. It is an activation, a sacred invitation to remember what your soul already knows. You are not lost. You are not behind. You are simply being called back to your center, your purpose, your natural rhythm. So ground yourself now. If this message speaks to something deeper within, tap the like button. Let that action be a small offering to the current of insight you're about to enter. Subscribe to Old Buddhist Philosophy to stay tethered to these teachings. And in the comment space below, write this affirmation, not as content, but as commitment. I align my focus with divine abundance, because from this moment on, you are no longer merely watching, you are remembering. You are not just seeking, you are awakening. You are stepping into a current that does not demand your effort, but your alignment. A current that leads not just to success, but to clarity, peace, and sacred prosperity. So let your mind grow still, let your spirit rise. Let the numbers begin to speak. Let the path unfold. Number 6. The quiet force of foundation. Not all power roars. Some arrive like dawn across a silent field, soft, deliberate, and without the need for spectacle. Such is the sacred energy of number 6. It does not chase the world's attention. It does not shout in the language of ambition. It simply is steady, unshaken, and deeply rooted. In the hush of stillness, it becomes a sanctuary. It is the breath before the chant, the pause between heartbeats, the unseen thread that binds chaos into calm. In the ancient teachings of Buddhist philosophy, 6 is not just a digit, it is a diagram of the sacred, a reflection of the 6 directions: north, south, east, west, above and below, reminding us that true balance is not outward symmetry, but inward stillness. This number echoes through the 6 realms of rebirth, where each journey is both a lesson and a return, and above all, it reverberates through the 6 paramitas, the perfections that the Buddha spoke of: generosity, ethics, patience, diligence, meditation, and wisdom. These are not lofty ideals, they are foundations, daily, quiet, lived. The vibration of 6 is the home of devotion without drama. It is the ritual of boiling water for tea, not to impress, but to invite peace. It is sweeping the floor with presence. It is speaking with kindness even when no one is listening. These acts are not small, they are seeds. Each one quietly rewires the soul, creating patterns that speak to the cosmos. I am ready. This is the paradox of 6. It looks still, but it is never stagnant. It builds, not in bursts, but in roots. Astrologically, 6 bends toward the rhythm of Saturn, the great teacher, the silent builder, the bringer of karmic truth. Saturn does not reward shortcuts or noise. It honors the slow, sacred labor of becoming. When 6 appears, it means Saturn is watching, and not with judgment, but with an open hand, ready to offer grace to those who are quietly aligned. It is a spiritual contract. If you do your part consistently, the universe will do its part faithfully. And as we enter August, a month charged with cosmic rebalancing, 6 does not call you to speed, it calls you to presence. It whispers, slow down, trust structure, honor your rhythm. You do not have to keep up with the world, you only have to return to your center, again and again. This is the secret that the world forgets. The foundation you build in silence is the temple your future self will pray in. So light your candle, not for manifestation, but for remembrance. Speak your mantra, not to attract, but to anchor. Take the same breath, daily, with sacred awareness. These are not routines, they are doorways. They are acts of devotion to a future you may not yet see, but one that is already forming, moment by moment, beneath the surface. Let this be your reflection. What unseen rituals are shaping my life right now, and what might unfold if I honored them not as habits, but as holy? Number 23, the whisper of gentle renewal. If a breeze had a number, it would be 23, not loud like thunder, nor dramatic like fire, but soft, graceful, and perfectly timed, like a breath arriving just before you knew you needed it. 23 doesn't clamor for attention, it earns it quietly, through its gentle repetition, on receipts, in dreams, on glowing clocks at midnight. Not coincidence, but conversation, not noise, but a sacred nudge from the universe itself. In the sacred lens of numerology, 2 is the vibration of harmony, trust, and sacred connection. It listens more than it speaks. It holds space. 3 is the flame of expression, the force of expansion, the rhythm of divine creativity, seeking to move and evolve. When 2 and 3 merge, they do not collide, they flow. And from that flow, 23 is born, the number of gentle realignment. It does not push you forward. It invites you inward, from fear to flow, from clenching to release. Buddhist teachings remind us, all is impermanent. What arises will dissolve, and in that dissolving, the soul finds its greatest freedom. Number 23 arrives like a koan, a riddle that can't be solved with logic, only surrendered to. It shows up when you've clutched too long, a dream grown heavy, a belief gone stale, a self-image quietly outgrown. Sometimes you don't even realize how tightly you've held until the breeze whispers, "Is it time to let go?" This number does not shout for change. It does not shame your struggle. It simply stands beside you with presence, with patience, with palm open, like a monk bowing to a falling leaf. 23 reminds you that surrender is not defeat, it is grace. It is the sacred art of no longer forcing what was never meant to stay. And this August, as Saturn offers its wisdom and Mercury sharpens inner truth, the number 23 becomes a sacred companion. It tells you, you don't need to map the entire road, you only need to take the next step in truth, from essence, not ego, from softness, not struggle. When 23 appears, it asks only this: slow down, breathe, release the old rhythms, let the soul lead, because sometimes what we are chasing is not ahead of us, but waiting patiently within. So pause, dear one, be still, and ask yourself gently with reverence, what am I still holding that no longer serves my becoming? And what might bloom if I stopped striving and simply allowed myself to begin again from peace, not pressure? Let this number be your passage, not into urgency, but into quiet rebirth, into the sacred art of listening, into a new rhythm, not built from force, but from trust. Because sometimes the softest whisper carries the deepest truth, and sometimes the wind doesn't tear you down, it sets you free. Number 17, devotion without applause. There are souls who do not need a stage to shine, whose presence does not echo in noise, but in the quiet rhythm of integrity. This is the vibration of 17, the number of silent devotion, of walking the sacred path with no need for fanfare. It belongs to the one who rises early, not for glory, but to greet the morning in stillness. To the heart that gives with no audience, serves with no title, and loves with no script. 17 is the breath between efforts, the prayer behind a closed door, the offering that asks for nothing and yet touches everything. It is the quiet monk, sweeping the courtyard long after the others have gone. The healer who places a hand on suffering without waiting for recognition. The artist who creates knowing her canvas may never hang, and paints anyway. In the ancient numerology, 1 is the flame of intention, the will to begin, the soul that dares to move forward, and 7 is the inner seeker, the path of solitude, spiritual refinement, and quiet inquiry. Together, they become 17, the disciplined mystic, the devoted traveler of the middle path. This number whispers that the deepest transformation is not loud. It is shaped in moments of stillness, when no one is looking. And when 1 and 7 merge to form 8, we arrive at the karmic current, the wheel of cause and effect. What you build in silence will be echoed by the cosmos. What you nurture in alignment will find its way back to you, in time, and always in truth. This is right action, in Buddhist philosophy, not action for applause, but for Dharma. To walk in alignment with the sacred laws of the universe. The Bodhisattva does not serve for praise. The awakened one does not speak to be heard, but to bring peace. The soul aligned with 17 understands this. To act with pure intent is to enter into harmony with the unseen. Your energy does not disappear, it returns, silently, with blessings only the soul can measure. August brings a cosmic backdrop of patience and karmic integration. Saturn's influence deepens, guiding us back into responsibility and soul maturity. In this frequency, 17 becomes a sacred mirror, reflecting your devotion, your quiet efforts, your unnoticed prayers. Do not mistake invisibility for insignificance. The universe notices what the world forgets, and the seeds you plant in private will bloom when the moment is ripe, not a second sooner, not a moment too late. Think of the lotus, not in bloom, but in root. Deep beneath the water's surface, in the mud where no light reaches, it gathers strength. No one claps for its roots. No one sees the daily effort of becoming. But eventually, it rises, not to impress, but because that is its nature. This is the essence of 17. It is the commitment to become, even when no one is watching, So pause now. Let this number speak to the part of you that keeps showing up when no one else claps. The part of you that labors in the sacred quiet. The part of you that believes in beauty even when no one is looking. That is your true power. That is your quiet radiance. And one day, the blessings will rise, not as applause, but as peace. Reflect now. Where are you walking in faith? Not for praise, but because your soul knows the path is sacred. Number 26. The sacred ordinary. Not all sacred messages arrive with lightning. Some come with the hush of falling leaves, the murmur of a kettle boiling, the steady rhythm of breath unnoticed. Number 26 is one of these quiet messengers. It doesn't cry for attention. It waits, patient, subtle. It lingers at the corners of your vision, on receipts, addresses, timestamps, inviting your soul to pause, to listen. This number does not roar into your life. It hums like a monk's mantra, soft but resonant, woven into the ordinary, and that is where its sacred power lies. In the spiritual language of numbers, 2 is the gentle peacemaker, the quiet empath, who listens before speaking, who feels what others overlook. 6, on the other hand, is the nurturer, the embodiment of love, made practical, of care grounded in responsibility, of devotion carried out, not for applause, but because it is simply the right thing to do. When these energies merge as 26, they do not push, they invite. This number does not ask you to change the world, it asks you to see it again, to reawaken to the beauty that never left. In Buddhism, the most profound truths are wrapped in simplicity, a monk's slow sweeping of the courtyard, the slow preparation of tea, the act of walking, barefoot, with full awareness of each step. These are not chores, they are doorways, and 26 stands as one such doorway, a bridge between your daily life and the eternal. It reminds you that spiritual enlightenment is not found by escaping your life, but by entering it fully, with eyes wide and heart open. We live in a world addicted to spectacle, the flash, the noise, the constant chase. But 26 invites a sacred rebellion. It asks, what if your life does not need to be louder to be meaningful? What if the real miracle is your breath, your body, your presence right here in this very moment? What if you are already living your purpose, but you've been too rushed to notice? In August reflective stillness, beneath the cosmic dance of shifting energies and karmic cycles, this number becomes your gentle bell. It rings not in alarm, but in reminder. Your life is already sacred. Every dish washed with love, every word spoken with kindness, every act of quiet discipline. These are offerings. You need not retreat to mountaintops to touch the divine. The divine is pouring itself into your daily rituals, waiting for you to finally meet its gaze. So pause now. Let yourself soften. Look again at your routines, your mornings, your evenings, your words, your silences. Are you moving through them like a ghost, or walking through them like a soul fully awake? Where have you allowed sacredness to turn into habit, and where might you rekindle reverence in the mundane? Because the truth is, number 26 was never trying to change your life. It was only ever trying to show you that your life exactly as it is, already holds the sacred. So ask yourself now, where in your ordinary rhythms is the universe still whispering to you, and are you ready to listen? Number 15. The inner return. Not every transformation arrives with fire. Some come like dew upon morning grass, quiet, unannounced, tender. That is the sacred essence of 15. It doesn't shatter illusions. It dissolves them gently, like a soft breeze that closes a door you never realized had been left open. When this number touches your path, it is not with force, it is with remembrance. You may not even notice it at first. It might appear on a ticket stub, on a forgotten clock, or whispered in the date of an old journal. But the moment you pause and recognize its presence, it begins to work, not outside of you, but within. In Buddhism, This is the nature of mindfulness, not something you acquire, but something you return to. You were never separate from it. You merely looked away. Number 1 is the flame of origin, the beginning, the self, the moment before form. It represents the sacred I am, beyond ego, the clear awareness that precedes all doing. Number 5 is the element of flow, the movement of water, the dancing leaves of change, the pulse of curiosity. When 1 and 5 merge into 15, they birth the path of the awakened seeker. One who moves not to escape, but to embody. One who travels not outward, but inward. This is the number of returning to what was never truly lost. The child you once were, the dream you still carry, the softness you buried beneath layers of performance. 15 calls not for reinvention, but for reconnection. It asks, can you hear the original song beneath the noise? Can you remember your true rhythm, the one not bound by time or expectation? In the Dhammapada, the Buddha said, let none find fault with others, let none see the omissions and commissions of others, but let one see one's own acts, done and undone. This is the teaching of it brings the mirror, not to reflect what the world sees, but to show you what you have forgotten to honor in yourself. In modern life, we often mistake movement for meaning. We fill our calendars, chase goals, and say yes to every demand until the soul becomes background noise. But 15 is the sacred pause in the rush. It's the invitation to come back, not to who you were before the world touched you, but to the eternal essence untouched by the world. It doesn't demand solitude, it brings solitude into the crowded moment. So today, don't just check your to-do list, check your soul list. When was the last time you moved slowly enough to hear your intuition, to sip tea without reaching for your phone, to walk without rushing toward a finish line? 15 is not a detour. It is a holy recalibration. It is the Buddha sitting beneath the Bodhi tree, not seeking answers, but allowing truth to find him. Ask yourself, not what needs to be done, but what wants to be healed. Not where you're going, but why you're rushing. The return isn't a place, it's a presence, and it's already waiting inside you. Reflect with presence. What have I quietly abandoned within myself that is still waiting with love to be reclaimed? Bonus number 35, the compass of quiet clarity. And now, we arrive not at an ending, but a sacred folding in, the silent finale that echoes loudest within. This is the realm of the bonus number, the final thread that weaves through the fabric of all we've uncovered, and in this quiet, we meet number 35, not as a conclusion, but as a celestial compass, a subtle force realigning you with the rhythm you may have forgotten, the rhythm of your own truth. 3 is not just the number of creation, it is the divine trinity of breath, thought, and intention. It represents the first sound, the first movement, the sacred syllable that awakened the cosmos into form. 5, by contrast, is the sacred wanderer. It is the wind that stirs the soul, the motion that breaks stagnation, the blessing of change. When embraced with courage, together they form 35, not as noise or confusion, but as a dance between direction and discovery. It is the whisper that says, you are not lost, you are becoming. In the teachings of the Buddha, clarity is not something we chase. It is not earned through effort or gained through noise. It emerges like a lotus from still waters, blooming not because we demand it, but because we surrender to the soil and sunlight that allow it to rise. Number 35 is that surrender. It is the quiet clarity that comes when we no longer chase, but simply sit, breathe, and listen inward. It is the moment you realize you were never off track, just being gently guided home by a wisdom greater than logic. This number does not shout, it hums, like a singing bowl in a silent temple. Like a prayer whispered across lifetimes, it doesn't push you into action, it calls you into alignment. The presence of 35 reminds you that every decision becomes clear, not in haste, but in harmony. It tells you the more still you become, the louder truth speaks. And in that stillness, the compass appears. Not outside of you, but within. Not pointing north or south, but toward your sacred center. In this way, 35 becomes more than a number. It becomes a practice, a gentle return to conscious movement, a reminder that the next step does not need to be perfect, it only needs to be aligned, that your next chapter need not be written in urgency, it can unfold in trust. It is not your speed that determines your direction, it is your stillness that reveals the way. So today, sit beneath the weightless sky, feel the ground beneath your feet. Place your hand on your chest and ask, where is my true north? What path am I walking, not for applause, but for peace? What truth have I known all along, that is now ready to lead me forward? Let 35 be the symbol not of finding clarity, but of embodying it. Let it be your compass, not made of metal but of mindfulness. And so we close, not with finality, but with presence. Reflect, am I rushing to find the way, or am I willing to become it? Ask yourself now, not in haste, but in holy stillness, where am I being gently guided to evolve, with grace, into the next chapter of my becoming? Not every awakening roars. Sometimes it arrives like dew at dawn. Sometimes the path doesn't demand that you run, but that you soften. And sometimes what looks like a pause is really a preparation, a sacred inhale, before your soul exhales into the fullness of its becoming. If something stirred in your spirit while listening, know this, it was not coincidence. These numbers are not mere predictions or passing curiosities. They are frequencies. They are soul signs. They are mirrors of your inner cosmos, calling you back to rhythm, to remembrance, to divine timing. They arrive not to instruct, but to reflect, not to control, but to awaken. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are aligning with every breath, every insight, every whisper of recognition that flickered through your being during this journey. You were never meant to chase. You were meant to receive, to open like a lotus in its own time, to allow these vibrations 21, 7, 4, 9, 18, 15, and the sacred 35 to echo through your awareness, not as commands, but as companions. Each one a lantern on the path, each one a prayer for your becoming. They are sacred invitations to live more fully, more mindfully, more aligned with the wisdom already seeded within your soul. So let this moment be your threshold. Let your heart be still enough to carry this message, not as content, but as calling. Plant your intention in the fertile soil of the present, speak it into being. Ground it in the sacred energy of now, with this offering in the comment section below. I align my focus with divine abundance. Write it, speak it, breathe it. Let it be your compass through the noise, your anchor through the change, your quiet vow to walk the path awake. And if this message touched you, like the ripple of a bell across still waters, honor it with your presence. Like this message, subscribe to old Buddhist philosophy, and if your heart feels moved, offer a gift in return. In the ancient tradition of Dana, the sacred practice of mindful giving, what is offered with intention always finds its way back multiplied in mystery. Carry this with you not as something you heard, but as something you remembered. For you are not just hearing numbers, you are hearing your own soul speak. You are ready. You are aligned. You are the frequency. Stay rooted. Stay soft. Stay awakened. And until we meet again, walk gently, dear one, for the path is sacred, and you are the light upon it.